Hi, I'm Caden, here with my brother,
Cal,
and you're watching Eating W's.
eat the W.
That's a W. Let's eat one. Let's eat one. That's a W.
On today's episode of Eating W's, we have our NFL Week 7 predictions. But before we jump into those predictions, just a quick update on our head-to-head pick'em game. Callan, for what I think might be the first time this year, I'm not positive on that, but at least one of the first times, scored more than me this week. He picked up 9 and I only picked up 8, putting us at a total of me with 61 points and Callan with 52 points. So that gap slightly closes.
And it's a good sign for me because you hit both your upset and your lock, and I still was able to gain a point on you.
That's a good week. That's a really good week. Speaking of good weeks, we got a lot of good matchups coming up, so let's jump into those Week 7 predictions, starting with the Thursday night football game of the Saints heading to Arizona to take on the Cardinals, and Cal and I both have the Cardinals in this one.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch this one. It's going to be another barn burner, just like all the other Thursday night games, but this one has the return of DeAndre Hopkins. So that's huge, not only just for the Cardinals, but also for me, because I have him on both of my fantasy teams. So I've been waiting for him to come back.
Yep. Cardinals came off of a rough week, putting up only 9 points against a not that great Seahawks defense. So we'll see if DeAndre Hopkins can turn them around. And I think he will definitely help, but I think the Saints are going to lose this game a lot more than the Cardinals win this game.
And it could be Andy Dalton or Jameis Winston for the Saints.
Interesting.
They haven't announced a starter.
Or Taysom Hill. No. We'll see.
Taysom Hill will be there no matter what.
We'll see him in there at some point, yeah. Next up, we got the Lions heading to Dallas to take on the Cowboys in a split. I have the Lions in this one, and Callan, you have the Cowboys.
Yeah, I think Dak's return is going to be the key point here, and I think that he's going to be able to throw all over that Lions defense, and they're going to win big.
I think Dak's coming off that injury. He's still going to be a little shaky to start. The Lions are coming off of some pretty stellar games, even though a lot of them were losses. They were well played. Mm-hmm. Now they have the bye week, a whole extra week to prepare for this Dallas game. I like the Lions' odds going into Dallas this week. Next up, we have the Green Bay Packers heading to Washington to take on the Commanders, and we both have the Packers in this one. We agree. I think that the Packers are certainly struggling, but there is just no way they lose to the Commanders, even with Taylor Heineke at quarterback, who will be starting this game for the Commanders. And I really like Taylor Heineke. I think it'll be a actually relatively close game, but I can't see the Packers dropping this one.
Yeah, I really hope that the Packers are able to get that running game going. They really seem to almost abandon it at times, and that seems to be their flaw when that happens. But hopefully they can get that running game going and keep it going through most of the game. I think that they will, and they'll be able to pull this one out.
Yeah, we have a blocking receiver as your number one and then 3 rookies behind him. Leaning on that passing game isn't the best, even with a legend like Aaron Rodgers. Next up, we got the Giants heading to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars in another split. Callan has the Giants in this one, and I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. I love this matchup. This is one of my favorite matchups of the week because it's 2 teams that shouldn't even be pretending to be good teams, but they both actually put up a pretty solid season so far, especially in New York's case. But I think the Jaguars kind of got embarrassed in that loss last week to the Colts. They should have won. They kind of had the game in their hands. They let the Colts come back and then hit that game-winning touchdown to rookie Alex Pierce in the end. So I think they're going to come with a fire under their ass and try to take out this high and mighty New York Giants team.
I think that Brian Daboll's got this team going. I've seen the way that they play firsthand, and Saquon is on a roll right now. That's going to be the key right there, is that Saquon Barkley is going to have a big game.
Trayvon Walker will have to really have a breakout game if they want to stop that Giants run game. Next up, we have the Texans heading to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders. Almost said Oakland, but they're going to go to Las Vegas instead. And we got another split here. Callan has the Raiders, and I have the Texans, and the Texans are actually marked as my upset. Now, they haven't been playing great recently, but kind of similar to the Lions. They put up some stellar performances, at least. Not overly great, not as good as the Lions, but decent. And now they're coming off of this bye week. They're going against a really struggling Raiders team who's also coming off the bye week, so they both had an extra week to prepare for each other. But the Raiders just seem to be on that struggle bus recently, and I just got that feeling. I like a Texans upset here.
Yeah, I like the Raiders in this one mostly because it's in Las Vegas. I think this is going to be kind of a gross game. This one kind of belongs on Thursday night, if you ask me.
It does.
The NFL needs to work on that flexing and flex this one to Thursday night. They'll roll right with the other games in line. But as far as I know, Devontae Adams is still going to play. He hasn't been suspended yet for his shoving incident. So I think he'll have a big game, and he'll be the key to their victory here.
Post-game push-off. Next up, we got another upset marked right here. Next game with the Seattle Seahawks heading to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers. And we got a split here. I have the Chargers in this one, and Kellen has the Seahawks as his upset.
Yeah, I think that Geno Smith and the Seahawks are gonna surprise people in this game. I just feel like he's gonna have a really big game, and Rashad Penny, even though he's out, trying to think who, not Rashad.
Kenneth Walker.
Kenneth Walker is gonna have a really big game. He's gonna be the star of the show now in that backfield.
Yeah, I expect him to have a huge game against Arizona, and he didn't necessarily do awful, but it was nothing overly special from Kenneth Walker. And I think he's going to be a real X factor. If Kenneth Walker goes off, they're going to pick up a win. The Chargers are able to stop him. The Chargers will pick up a win. I personally picked this a little before that Monday night game, so I'm a little less confident after seeing the way they played against the struggling Denver Broncos.
They did not play
but
well on
those
Monday.
Divisional games are kind of shaky. They're hard to judge off of since there's such a rivalry game. But overall, I just like the Chargers here. It's in Los Angeles.
They'll be without their hero, Dustin Hopkins, though. He's out 2 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, but now they got a chance to actually get a new kicker, so they didn't have to put in J.K. Scott mid-game. Next up, we have our game of the week with the Kansas City Chiefs heading to San Francisco to take on the 49ers, and yet another split. I have the Niners in this one. Callan has the Chiefs.
No, I have.
Sorry, flip that.
Yeah,
I have the Chiefs
like,
in
whoa.
this one. Callan has the Niners.
I have the Niners. I think the Niners are going to bounce back after that terrible, terrible game against the Atlanta Falcons.
Oh, okay, yeah. They've had a couple string of terrible games, so I wanted to see which one exactly he was talking about.
The most recent one was their worst one. That defense played like a second-string defense.
I just do not trust Jimmy G, to say the least. Of course, I haven't for a while. I think the Chiefs played a really good game against the Bills, couldn't pick up a win, but the Bills are a good team, and it's hard to pick up a win against them. So I see them kind of rolling the 49ers here, not just picking up a win. Next up, we have our 2 primetime games, starting with the Steelers heading to Miami to take on the Dolphins, and Cal and I agree on this one. We both have the Dolphins. It is now back to Mitchell Trubisky, and I just refuse to trust Mitchell Trubisky, especially against a pretty good defense like the Dolphins. I think that he will very much struggle, and I don't see this being a very high-scoring game either. These primetime games that are picking this year are rough.
Yeah, I think this will be another rough one. It's not going to be the most exciting game, but Tua is back. We'll see how he does. That'll be interesting to see. And I think that him and Jalen Waddle will have a big game, because it seemed like Jalen Waddle has kind of fallen off since Tua went out. They had a really good rapport, and I hope that rapport can get back on track.
Very much. And then finally, our Monday Night Football game with the Chicago Bears heading to New England to take on the Patriots. We both again agreed. We both have the Patriots, and Callan has them as his lock.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the Patriots are going to win this one. It's against a really weak Bears team. That's a weak offensive line, and Bill Belichick knows how to tackle people's weaknesses.
Same thing. One reason and one reason only, Bill Belichick. I can't see the Patriots losing to the Bears, especially at home.
It'd be the biggest upset of the week if it happens.
Yep. So these are our Week 7 predictions. 4 teams on bye again this week with the Bills, Vikings, Rams, and Eagles. So 4 pretty damn good teams on bye this week. 4 high record teams at least. So that was our predictions. Thank you all for watching. And until next time, don't forget
to eat the W.